Good morning, class. Today I'm going to show you what my paper bag novel ended up looking like. So, as you know, I did my study on The Golden Compass by Philip Pullman. And I started looking at the character Lyra when I first started out. And I did my character wheel on Lyra, as you can see there. The next part I did was I added the setting, which was part of the rising action where Lyra is on her way to Bolvanger and takes Yerk by Ernestine, the giant bear, and in the middle of the night goes to check out what's in this little cabin that the alethiometer is telling her. Quite a spooky scene that Philip was able to create for us. The next part I did was the rising actions. So in that part I put on this part of my paper bag, and in that part the rising action consisted of started off with Lyra goes north with the gypsies after escaping from Miss Coulter. So she starts off at the college, seeing Lord Azrael, being introduced to Dust, and then Miss Coulter takes her away on a supposed adventure, but she decides or manages to escape from Miss Coulter, and then she goes up north with the gypsies. And that's where the second rising action starts, where Lyra meets the Great Bear and aeronaut Lee Scoresby, where she gets captured by the Panzer Bjorn, a group of bears, and needs to be saved. After that, the final rising action before the climax is when she gets actually captured by Miss Coulter, or the Gobblers, run by Miss Coulter, in Bolvanger. And that is where, right before the climax, and the climax takes place after that, where a giant fight happens. And in that giant battle, Bolvanger is destroyed, where they do the incisions on children. But that isn't the end of the book, as you can see here, my climax part. In the conclusion, the denouement, as Miss Peel said, afterwards, where things get wrapped up and loose ends are tied, Lyra goes to see Lord Azrael, where she thinks she's supposed to be giving this a lithiometer. Little does she know that there's some other plans there. I'll leave that to those who read it. But this isn't a conclusion where the book ends completely and everything's nicely tied up at the end, because there is a second book to this. So in this one, Lyra actually walks into a new dimension with Lord Azrael, and that's where the next book starts. So that was how I did the outside of my paper bag. Everyone could have done it their own way, so there's many different ways to do it. I chose to use many of the assignments and put it on. You may or may not have done the same. I've seen most of you have done that as well. So now for my objects that I chose to include in my paper bag novel study. Well, as some of you know, one of the first objects I have is the keys. And I said that this story itself is a bit of a key to seeing light, a coming-of-age tale. So I think this time it would be an appropriate one for someone of your age to be reading it, because it offers clues and insights on how to see the world, how to overcome challenges, and what rewards that offers. The next object I have chosen was the modem, this bizarre, strange device of the 21st century. And to me, this is a symbol of the relationship between Lyra and the alethiometer. In the same way, the modem represents, in our world, it performs similar things. So when Lyra asks the alethiometer for answers, it performs these strange, or this dial moves and gives her symbols. And from those symbols, Lyra is able to decipher it and then know the answer to the question that she's given, in the same way that a modem does. So when I ask the computer a question, the modem blinks, does a bunch of lights, information sent out, and then information comes back, and when it comes back, I get an answer to the question that I've asked. So that's why I chose the modem to represent the relationship with Lyra and the alethiometer. So my next symbol, which is a symbol representing the setting, is this plant. And I chose the plant for the setting because I found that Philip Pullman was able to organically create these settings in my mind. Everything flowed from one thing to another, or grew, more like, from one thing to another. And that's kind of how I saw those settings in my mind grow. We started off in the college, this what seemed like ancient but futuristic place, and then goes to Miss Coulter again, another futuristic but at the same time old place, like old buildings but new technology. And then as she goes from there up into Bolvangar, or up into the north in Bolvangar, where the story itself unfolds organically, starting from a setting that just kind of starts as a seed and then goes up. That's why I chose the plant. And then for the rising action climax, myself, I have the symbol of it as a gift. When I first read this book, I could not put it down. It's one of my favorite books that I've read. So it was great. It was a gift because at the end, I hadn't read trilogy books before. And so it was great that at the end, when the conclusion happened, that it wasn't all over. Everything wasn't wrapped up nicely. There was more to be had, so it led you on to the next story. And so the image that came to my mind was symbol when I thought of, or the symbol that came to my mind was a gift when I had read this book. And what I thought about this way of writing, not ending a book right at the end, but keep on going and leaving the reader wanting more. Okay, that is how I did my paper bag novel study. So I look forward to seeing how you guys are going to end up doing yours. They're going to be the same as mine, but also different. Me and Cohen have discussed what's probably going to happen in the paper bag novel study is in a couple weeks or 2 weeks from now, I'm going to come into class, and we're going to do, those people that are in class, we're going to do it together. And then those people that are not coming to class are going to join us on Zoom, and they're going to present on Zoom on their paper bag novels study in that method. So that's 2 weeks away. But let me and Cohen talk to see how this is going to work out. To make sure how that's going to happen. So I hope that provides a good model. So you guys are well on your way, I know, to making your paper bag novel studies, and now know what a completed one looked like and how you can present it. So thank you for your time.